I said, what you see, or what you
What to
see
see is what you
is what you get, and what you get. I said, what you see
it's what
is
you
what you
get now,
get now,
baby.
baby. And he-
Real love is the best thing yet.
Ooh.
Hey, all right, you just enter into a jam session at the studio of the playground experience. Yes, we are live, people. Yes, the topic, as you can guess, is love. Love. Let's just take a deep breath in and breathe out.
Sorry.
Good in, breathe in that good ass love and hug yourself.
I guess everything be trying to hug me. Okay. All right.
Rub
Bathed
yourself.
in gold, I guess.
Hug
So,
yourself. Rub yourself. All right, that's what I'm on reading that self love book with the workbook that we have in our little therapy, which Stephanie had recommended for us to do and talk about. I'm at the point where they talk about doing things that express yourself for self love as well. So, as you can see, especially during these times, and we got Valentine's Day, and that's something that's commercialized, but again, it's a helping because you have to look. I always say everything has a light and a dark to it, which is the light to it is it's a reminder that even though those days out of the 365 days, it's a purposeful and it's intentional that we take time out to really love ourselves, love the people that we are with that have showed up in our lives to be a support system in some kind of way. And there has been an interchange of love. Maybe sometimes it's not the way how maybe you might not want it to be, but there is love being expressed there. Although we should be expressing the other side of it, the dark side would be that we should be expressing it all the time. It doesn't need to take a special day to say I love you or to show appreciation, flowers or whatever like that in order for you to love. So that's the other counteract. And that's where a lot of times we get a little kind of hung up into the commercialize of it. Well, I don't have anybody to give on the outside to express and reflect back to us, to yourselves that you are loved. And that's kind of almost like the conversation we able not had there. I said, well, if you give it out, you should give it back. But and sometimes that's not how it goes. It doesn't have that equal balance all the time. However, you would like it, but sometimes it don't come back the way that you want to, but it does have a way of coming back because everything does have that infinity sign. Some kind of way it does comes back of that flow. You throw it out there, it comes back in some form of fashion. So, the energies I just seen before we got on here, I didn't know we going in the full moon in Leo. So that's really interesting from Kate Moon. She was
you said
talking
you wanted a full moon from Leo?
right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Full moon in Leo. She said, "Oh, stop! I don't want to hear a thing." Before they be talking about it, you got a strike. You got somebody else's stuff on your video. I don't need that. We don't need that rather.
All
So
right, we
interesting
got
enough
a
that it's Leo and Moon, which is about the heart. Heart. Leo's all about that heart. Her moon is in Leo. All right then. Hey, boom shakalaka. Bakalaka boom.
she's all heart, baby.
Yes. We're gonna let our resident Leo, instead of me going to my cheat sheet, tell us what is it about this full moon here. And you leave, we talk about it in our emotions. What is a Leo? What is that energy? What is it? What is it all about?
Well, it's the sun. Nuff said. Just kidding. That's such a Leo way to say that. But
Typical Leo. I'm
they
sorry.
say, that the world doesn't revolve around us. But if we look at it for real, though, Leos are all love, passion. They love to show their caring. There's fourth house and fifth house Leos. So there's different styles of Leo energetics. I don't know which house this moon is going to be in, but it feels more like cultivating family. It feels like cultivating relationships. I can feel the vibe. I remember the other day I was looking at love, people in love, being affectionate towards each other, grabbing ass, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay. Because, depending on where you are, because I am learning how to put the boundaries for, sexuality and love and all these things and how to apply them appropriately, I finally was able to just see love with no attachment, but also be excited about giddy for love. I have a couple of friends they got engaged, and I just felt nothing but joy for them. So it was beautiful to be out of that stage. So if you're in that stage where you are feeling a lot of resistance, or you get angry or you're upset when you see these PDAs and all these people just being in love, that is a beautiful reflection, because it means that you get to take some more time and love on yourself, because all I see is external confirmations of what's coming in alignment for myself, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And that's the wholehearted way to do it. Yes, there are wounded hearts out there, and our society is coming out of a great trauma. Our society, our humanness, our earth is coming out of great trauma, and we're letting our voices be heard, letting our trauma be heard, even by ourselves. Some of us don't even want to admit to ourselves how badly we have had situations had handed to us, for us to process, not only for ourselves but our family. Sometimes it's from our partners, and Leo is a very great, brave heart and very giving and caring, but they also know how to protect, right? And so when you're oscillating between masculine and feminine, you really do want to set up, because Leo energy is masculine. It's very showy. It's like if the counterpart was just ready to put it all on the table and just say, "Here I am. This is my heart. I'm giving it to you." How would that look like for yourself? How can you give your heart to yourself? How can you be present and fully loving and accepting of you in all the parts? It's not "I love myself when," it's "I love myself because."
Mm-hmm.
I love myself because, and I love others because, and I have patience for others, because we're all learning. The fourth house Leo is very, very home and hearth, and I find myself finding a lot of patience with others, patience with being them going through their process, right? I may think, "Oh, I'm so advanced, I did all this stuff," but it's like, no, you get humbled real quick when you do that kind of stuff with spirit,
Oh
FYI.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
don't
Oh
don't
yeah.
do it. Don't ever think there's actually a high horse. You're just below somebody else's horse. um, so just having that patience and that love. And as per your request, what was the first one? Can you feel the love tonight? Oh me, oh me. The
Oh,
peace
see me.
the evening brings. Mhm. But now I just lost all the lyrics, 'cause I'm so
Y'all about to
full
freestyle
of
every time. Don't worry about it. Yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
love. And it's okay to ask for what you want to. It's okay to roar it out there, you know? You might not be met with the response that you want, but what if you are?
I like
It
that.
might not give you the love that you want, but what if it does? Right? So just putting yourself out there, confidence, knowing that you could still fall and play it off like you meant to do that. You know what I mean?
Did
I
I
think
do
that's the Leo quality. It's like,
that?
yeah, I tripped and made it look smooth. You know what I mean? I fell on my knees because I just wanted to, ow,
But I felt so pretty. I felt look at
Yes, you should be feeling yourself. If a Leo full moon is, you should be feeling yourself. You should
yeah.
definitely be feeling yourself.
And you know what? And that's interesting. That falls right in line with it was something was that in this morning I was listening to, and I think it might have been the daily wellness that I listened to, and they were saying, standing in and understanding that you are unique and understanding your divinity. And that goes along with that. I was like, yeah, you got to step into now understanding that's who you are, your uniqueness, and be okay with it. We keep saying that we're going to do it. I know I've said that even plenty in other episodes. I've said I'm going to do it, but I fall into it and I slip out. I fall into it and I slip out. And then this moon is really, that subject is coming up again with the self-love and self-loving yourself, and really truly understanding where you are and being okay with where you are and giving yourself, I think, approval. It was something I read today that's talking about that. Give yourself approval for where you are. It's like you approve of everything else, but are you giving yourself approval, like authority and okay, for you to allow yourself to step into that quirkiness or that uniqueness? Or if you break out in song and you mix up the lyrics, are you doing being self-critical of yourself? Are you having conflicts that's happening within about that? And so that's kind of where this moon is also pushing us to really truly love every nook and cranny, even how we show up in our body, how we look, our mannerisms, our belief systems, that even though we're not different, us being on this path of being twin flames of being divine, we have some interesting quirks. And to the others, it's like, huh? How you think that? Okay, that don't. All right, then you. Hey, oh, that's what we doing. Oh, okay, that's what we doing. And so you have that interesting kind of like doing things, but we're now getting really pushed to really, from now on, to really sit in it. And we've had a problem sitting with. We sit with it and we get up. I got to go do this. Or I sit with it and then I go. Okay, I got to still be like them. But understanding to sit in your identity as to how you are showing up now, and that's where we're finally getting that settling in. It's almost like feeling like they're showing me like the three little bears. This seat too hard, this seat too soft, this seat just right. So we've been sitting in seats and trying it out to find, okay, which one is truly our throne? Which one is the one that really is the divine seat that we need to sit in, and we can sit in authority from that point on to, again, know our territory, like they say, the king and the queen's in the suite. Know our territory, understand the plan, know the strategy, understand how we're gonna move things, how we're gonna win and be victorious in the seat that we're actually in. And so this is where we are. So I'm challenged. So this is where we are. Right now, it's really finding the right seat, like the three little bears, the right seat to sit in, and then to say, okay, now I'm truly in the driver's seat. This is where we are. And that's where it's driven by self love. It's not self doubt. It's not looking at other people and let other people be the motivation to be able to drive you on the path of the journey that you need to go, or the destination that you know you need to go. But it's you that is the actually one that's driving in the transmission.
And and like if we're gonna like focus in on a little bit more of the Leo energy. Okay, so everybody has every energy, whether it shows up in your house or your chart or not. Everybody has every energy because we are a model of our universe. Okay, so every sign rules a part of the body, and the Leo's part of the body is the heart, is the central keeper of everything moving and keeps it going. Now, when you neglect aspects of that, it shows. It starts to show itself in physical disease or pain or discomfort or different things like that. How it affects your relationships, and when you're shifting into these new ways of being, the core and anchoring point is the heart. Now, the heart and the brain, yes, they are different tissues, but they have similar intelligences. In fact, the heart is far more intelligent than the brain. And so it can be used to determine whether something is authentic to you or is inauthentic. And you may want to be in that light and lovey, super happy place, but it's okay to not be. The key is to acknowledge that that's not where you're at exactly, and give yourself permission to feel your way there, right? Because the key to the heart is it feels, it knows, it loves, it opens and it closes, right? And it does it automatically. So if you're running on complete subconscious systems, your heart often is shut down. But when you consciously choose love, that means you're consciously opening your heart to things that may seem uncomfortable at first, and they become more and more um, regulated, more and more. What's the word? If it's uncomfortable, it's not comfortable because it never really becomes comfortable. If you putting yourself out there and letting yourself be vulnerable does never really truly feels comfortable, but it can feel safe with the right boundaries put in place, right? And so when you externally, now if we're taking this from within as without, right? If you externally put the right boundaries up and you have the right people around you, and you're in a safe environment, you can let all of those emotions out. You can start to process the stuff that was, like she said, the ego and the old programming and the old belief systems will just fall apart once they actually come into terms with what's really happening with the heart. The mind itself is going to chatter. It's just a chatterbox. It's basically the one kid that never shuts up at the sleepover, and so you never actually get to go to sleep at the sleepover. Even though it was fun chatting with them, at a certain point, you're just like, okay, chartreuse. That was the name I came up with. I'm not exactly sure why, but whatever. Okay, chartreuse, it's time to just button it up for just a minute so I could actually process. It's okay that I can actually just sit here in silence, you know? And that's part of the healing of the heart requires a silencing of the mind because the mind is just making assessments, and the mind is kind of the one that helps the heart build the walls. But once the heart decides to remember itself, it overpowers those walls. Those walls fall down. And we start to actually see ourselves and learn to really authentically love ourselves and stay present. So I welcome you all to loving yourself a little bit more than you thought. And then when you're tired and you're just like, I don't know, you love yourself even more because you're a unique individual. You've been primed and designed for this space. You are muted, by the way, in
I
case.
they were barking in the background, so I couldn't say nothing. But they started.
Okay. Yes. Who's ready to love themselves even more than they thought humanly possible? All right. Kathy D is busy loving herself so much that she's gonna fix that
Oh
internet
God! Don't
connection.
get too freaky. Don't get too freaky.
that's a lo- that's a lot of Freaky Friday self love techniques brought to you by the absent Kathy D. She is energetically shifting a whole lot for us through pleasure and
Right.
alchemy. Right.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, she's finished. She's
And
finished.
that was a
So she's
quickie.
back.
That was a quick one.
That was quick.
We're talking about pleasure shifting consciousness. I mean, actually, that's a great gateway. Okay. So, a lot of people on this planet, based on media and what's happening in the world around us, they're stuck somewhere in the lower three, right? So they may have self-esteem issues, they either have financial or security issues, or sexuality is warped, right? And it's disconnected from the heart. When you can actually run that energy back and forth like a circle. So I often have women invite them to Yoni Steam, right? Because that's my favorite tool, easy biohack, right? That you can passively start to connect not only to the womb, but you start to allow your creative juices and flowing to go, but you can connect that energy to the heart. You can cycle. I mean, I would show you, but I have a bathing suit on right now and it's just a whole lot of titty. But I guess it's Freaky Friday. But anyway, so you're just going to cycle the energy like a big loop up around the back from the sacral and the root to the heart, and then you're going to let it fill up and then drop down again back into the womb space. And let's just do that for a couple of breaths, just feeling, let the sacral, and you can pump the lower belly if it helps, just pumping it in and out just to kind of activate it. You put your hand in the little triangle over your womb, your lower belly. You could actually stroke your lower abdomen and talk about how you love it, how you're so thankful for it to give you the strength, that give you this peace, allow you to feel into your body. And if you're masculine watching this, you can just put your hands over the same area. Maybe you could even like you could cup your balls technically because they're on the outside, right? You can hold them. You're like, I'm thankful for this part of my sexuality. I'm thankful for this part of my creativity. And then you let that cycle up, that energy just flow up like a golden red orange up into the heart space, and then that green and pink just starts to fill and flutter with it, and then it drops back down through the solar plexus, clearing all of that dark things that are attached to it. It's like I feel it. It's very interesting. It's like a self-esteem type stuff where we've given some power away and there's some little leaks, and then you're going to let it go down to the womb and fill the womb up. So you're going to start to get this energetic highway going between your root and your creativity up to your heart and back down again. And squeeze your butthole, basically your lower tentian. Squeeze that, your pelvic floor muscles, and bring it up. You feel that heat rise up to the heart. Loosen your jaw and kind of sway for people who are kind of holding their body a little bit too tight because you want the energy to flow, right? You need to flow, your energy needs to flow. You can pump back and forth like a wave. You can even raise it up higher so that you can raise that heart energy so you're speaking with that intention of love. Whoa. Drop back down into the heart. Whew. And the solar plexus, the sacral, the root. And you just let that now become a column of light where the energy is flowing both up and out and in and down and up and out like a donut. In and down. Now float it back the other way because we're working, we're exercising now. The energy is now going from ooh, the heart, throat, wherever you feel the need to stop. You can stop it at your third eye if you want. And it spills over and starts to cultivate there at the base. You're going to squeeze in your lower abdomen, your pelvic floor muscles, butt muscles, squeeze that, let that energy come up and through the center and down and wash over you. Here we go. In and up and around and down. And this is going to really start to connect your body. So you are now lit up. I can feel everybody being lit up right now because I'm on fire. So, what I want you to do is just start to call in that love. Start to call in that self love, that assurance. I am secure. I'm thankful. The world is meeting me and all of my needs. I'm thriving. I'm ready to love abundantly. Myself, I love myself abundantly. This earth is showing me that it loves me because I am. Whatever mantras make you feel more connected, more willing to love, more willing to open your heart, more willing to show who you are, trust, and breathe. Okay, now I want to bring the energy back around again. So it's coming from without now down to the center. So we're switching the energy direction again, right? Out around the donut, in through the core, in through the third eye, the crown, or the heart, wherever you're starting. The throat, to the solar plexus, to the root, or the sacral, and then the root. Back out, kind of wiggle your toes, wiggle your ankles, let that energy really flow through your entire being and let your auric field start to fill up with this energy. And so now you're calling in that love. Now you can see that reciprocity from the universe. Now you know by your breath, by the sight of your flesh, You know that you are loved by the place where you're sitting or standing, by the beauty that's around you. The universe just wants to supply you with more love and more abundance and more confirmation of you being the one. You being is all that is required. Receive, call into you, call it in. Now let's go a little bit alchemical. So we're going to call in the money. Yeah. Let's call in the money. Let's call in the new house. See yourself signing the contract for the new car. Let's call in the freedom. Let's say you get your divorce papers going through. Let's say you get your um, that release that new job that you wanted. Let's say you get those plane tickets. Let's see all of this stuff flowing to your bank account just keeps growing and growing and growing. Just call it in and let it anchor in. We're going to detach from the outcome and start to shake. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Come into your body. Start to feel yourself. Cause you good looking girl. What you work? What you working with? All I know is you worked it. She got the hair flick. She got the. Oh, I'm gonna neck roll with it. I'm gonna just whoop, 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 and then zip. Okay, so I'm gonna tap in. So you're tapping your sternum. This is that Donna Eden point that I love. It's gonna ground you into your body. So here we are. Ready? Ooh, I feel all tingly. I feel all ready. Who's ready? Who's ready for? Oh, I'm receiving. I'm receiving just by being baby. Okay, and we're back. Self love. Leo.
Leo in the house.
Leo.
Leo in
Leo
the
son.
pussy. I'm not a Leo, but I'm just repping for Leo in the house. I just want to make that clear. I am an Aries. I have two Aries, Aries name, but I will represent. I will help her out.
You'll be the
people
hype
always
man for Leo.
people are always trying to say that the fire signs were like trying to compete, like who's the most lit. Like we're all lit. We are
All
fire.
lit. We have no choice but to be lit. We fire.
And then we're like, we're not Earth, but we sure do love Earth, and I'm sure there's some Earth in our placements. I mean, we have to be Earth. We have to be everything. Everybody, we are
Right.
everything.
That's
You may
it.
think it's like external versus internal versus you and then them and all that, but it's not. You're
No.
everything. So
We
Well,
have
and
there's
you
either
gotta realize too, when with your twin. So when you come into that union of even before we're in physical union, when we're in that union of soul, you're taking on, placements and houses that they have that we don't have, and vice versa. So
right. That's true. That's true. That's true. I tap in, use they stuff quite often.
mhm.
Give
I'm
me
gonna
that.
call some 3D tap in. I should have put that in there. Should have put that in the meditation. A little 3D. Hoping it's more like a 7D, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Somebody cut me off.
What
I
that
gotta
D
mute
stand
myself.
for? That D
Can
stand
I
for
mute
something else? What that D stand for? I ain't
my
for them now.
Can I mute myself?
You haven't been up there with sixth grade long enough. Trust me, they'll tell you what the D stands for.
Right, right. Oh yes, very much so. The other day they told me, Miss Booker, you open yourself wide open for that one. I'm like, oh Lord.
Flashbacks of what I did the first day of school.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, oh Lord. I like, let me reel it back. I forgot about y'all. Y'all real quick. They second
That's
grade.
why everybody's scared of 12D. I'm telling you, nobody be talking, nobody be talking about that deep in the dimensions. We just talk about the fourth and fifth dimension. That's what we handling
Yeah, we
right
ain't ready
now.
for that. Yeah, we ain't ready for that. That's some big stuff there. Bump bump.
Hey there, DM. How you doing? Why don't you slide up in my DMs, DM? Oh, that's weird. I never
Don't
thought
say
about
that. The
that.
last time you said that, my phone started going crazy. So,
Watch it. That's too much sliding.
hmm
Too much
I'm
sliding.
not seeing a problem. I'm not seeing a problem with
You're
too
not
much
seeing the
sliding.
problem.
Because I'm feeling like riding on my surfboard, if you know what I'm saying. Which I think you do.
sliding and riding, sliding and riding. That's all.
And I'm writing that down as it's going on a shirt.
What you doing? Sliding and riding.
Oh
That
my
is
goodness.
it, Lord. Yeah. Hey, we talk about love. What you talking about? Love. That's all.
Watch out, we'll have to break out into the carpenters now.
Oh Lord. So what's going on over there, Kathy? Because you didn't come in. We'll talk about self love and things and how things are transforming and stuff like that. And the Leo Moon. I didn't get a chance to listen to K Moon's thing, but what have you heard? Because I know sometimes you hear things about what's going on in the beat out there in Twin Flame streets. So what's going? What be happening?
It's just right now what we're getting a lot of is um manifestation, and we knew it was coming in and gonna be quick. I mean, being able to, I guess, we all always have had the power. We just didn't realize it. And then we also, it was easier to manifest negative because that's just what society does. You're
True, true.
taught. I know with my mother in that generation, my mom was a baby boomer. And so it was, don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Right.
don't get your hopes up, don't say anything and jinx it, all these kind of things. And now once we realize that that's a paradigm that's got to go, because we want to speak it. We want to let the universe know we are ready. Hello.
Right.
Um so when we get into doing that and just speaking those things um into fruition, I mean, it's amazing, and they are literally happening like that.
Amen. True.
And I mean, it's crazy, and it's in all areas of our life. It's not just with the twin. And that's probably the hardest place to manifest. And this is something Benita and I were talking about, that we get these heavy energies in, and they're not heavy, they're different. They're strong. I guess they're stronger. They're not heavy. They're stronger. And sometimes, when there's something that's, strong, it does kind of weight differently on you. And so from the beginning of the journey to, where we are now, when you get that really strong energy, there's a chance that a lot of times we go into panic because
Mm.
we think something's wrong,
Okay.
and that we've got to really start, when we start feeling that, oh, it's going to make him mad, or oh my gosh, what's going on, what's he thinking, what's he doing, and we just have to stop and spin that positivity. And that the worst case scenarios, he's peeling another layer of that ego away, and that's what we want. And we just keep, it's getting healthier and healthier. And if we keep that in mind, that we're the ones that they're going to come home to, and that, and you believe it, and like we used to say, what you know what you know, and you walk it, you talk it, and you live it, then it's so much easier to turn that around. And I mean, and this is not like, oh, I don't ever have negative feelings ever again. Yeah, right. One phone call, I get the call me, and then I call, and then there's no answer, and immediately ego kicks in.
True.
Oh, well, remember when that happened the last time? And so I get that and then I'm like, no, you need to go in the back seat. That's not my story. Cancel, delete, resend. I am not buying what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to put it, in the back of my mind, and then just further out. It's just like, you just keep pushing it like a one of those trash compactors, it just and
Mm-hmm.
it pushes it all to the back,
See,
and then
I
it
see.
comes, you got all that nice open space. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get more of those negative thoughts that are not truthful. And you can feel it. It was so great what April was saying about the mind and the brain and the heart. If something's true, you can feel it in your heart. You feel that flutter. We talk about, butterflies and all those kind of things, especially as little girls, Oh, he's so cute, and they, oh, but that's in your heart. It's not until we get in our 20s after our heart has been broken so many times that this comes in and goes, yeah, well, the last time a guy made you feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start putting up those unhealthy walls because we're now not giving, you know, the next guy a chance, or, the next situation a chance, or the next opportunity a chance. Um, and we just have to really get in tune with that feeling and know when we get that feeling that it doesn't always have to be the beginning of a panic attack. It can be the beginning of laughter and of joy. And we have to put that positivity on it. And it's like, I just, for whatever reason, I just saw the word positive with like suntan lotion being rubbed all over it. It's like we just have to, bake it and make it and turn it into something, beautiful, because it is. And we have to watch out for the negative because our society is so very negative. Everything's doom and gloom sometimes, and we have to make a choice. Is that your story? If it is, then that might be something you have to learn from, and that's fantastic. And I'm not taking anybody's story or journey away from them if that's where you are, because trust me, I had been there. I have traveled that road more than Route 66, let me tell you. But you get to a point where it's like, I don't like this. It feels icky, as my girls used to say. Feel icky, mommy. Feel icky. And we don't want that icky anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I want that feel good. I want that feeling, because I'm about to be so amazed at what the universe is going to do for me. It takes my breath away. It's not the beginning of a panic attack. I am so excited. And we start by finding joy in little things. The first, whatever you're drinking first thing in the morning, if it's cold water, if it's tea, if it's coffee, if it's a smoothie, um, you know, you enjoy it and you take it in, and that, you boy, that cold water, that hit the spot. That was great. I'm so blessed to have, cool, clean water, and just you get excited over the little things. And when you start finding joy in those little things, the big things, they're gonna blow you away.
Mm-hmm. 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 And
And,
that's
and we go back to that gratitude.
right. And that's interesting you said that, and I'm gonna call it not a shameless plug, but a righteous plug. I had said that even on my podcast about divinely speaking unplugged, which how society has taken now the word positive to mean negative. When you say, "Oh, did you got the da da da? Oh, you positive? Oh man." So now even the wonderful things for a word is such as positive has now have a negative spin, a negative connotation here lately as well. So we got to snatch that back, that power back with the word positive and stating what it actually means. And that reminds me when you talk about positive, like lotion, reminds me of April and that exercise that she told me to do, which
Mm-hmm.
is put lotion on your body and just put it on the perfume and everything as well. So that's what we have to do. And I've even gotten to the point now that even with my mind, if I see something, uh, even if something negative happening, we're talking about anxiety because that's what I'm dealing with now is anxiety and anxiousness and dealing with those things with the social anxiety disorder thing where I had to find out is I had to, okay, the negative thing happened. Now I've got to find positive things at the same thing. So if I got that one negative thing, I make myself now look at something positive. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is that? What was the positivity that happened? Okay, all right. Well, the kids did sit down. Okay, well the kids did stop. Okay, what's bad is the kids are acting crazy in the classroom. But at the same time, I did have one kid ask me for a hug early in the morning. Oh, okay, that's something positive. I did get there. It doesn't take me no more than 2 minutes to get to work. That's positive. So, those things. So that kind of overrides that instead of my mind going and looking for negative things because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm learning now is that I'm in constant survival mode 24/7. And that's something that's got to stop because again, I won't be able to see the positive if I'm in
Mm-hmm.
constant survival mode. And that's something that again, going back to society and the way we were brought up, is about survival of it's about survival not of the fittest, but it's just surviving, making sure that you have. And so that's again where we are too. And sometimes when you're in that survival, there goes again their goals, self-love, because again,
Mm-hmm.
you're not thinking about really truly yourself. Sometimes if you survive, you might be thinking about other people, how you people pleasing them so you can be able to survive, so they'll leave me alone. So all those kind of things kind of go into play about that. So that's interesting you brought that up, and that's one thing I had like an aha moment about that. It's like, yeah, we need to look more into the positive, about how positivity, the word positive, has even been stripped of its power. They tried to strip it; it's still there. But that's one of the things that we have to kind of work at and get it back to it, because it also puts us in the wrong spot and not truly in our place of power of what us being able, going back to us being able to really be in the seat of our soul. I guess that's what they're saying, is it's about the seat of your soul, to it really being
Mm-hmm.
ownership of where you are on that one. So yeah, that it came to me too as well, about that. And that manifestation, my God, it's off the chart. Really, it is. It's very quickly we are manifesting things, something very awfully powerful. So that's why you got to kind of watch it, because it's going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you want to make sure, that's why you need to train your mind to really look for the positivity, so you can be able to manifest more positivity than negativity. And I heard kind of April, going back to what you were saying earlier about with the situation, you saying about the twins. I don't know. I heard it was like, no, it's not hard. It's just that again, it's a little bit of, we have resistance. I heard April. Now I'm trying to her. You're having resistance to you being able to see that that can be able to manifest. It's not hard. It's just resistance because of your past experiences, things that your ideology, things of your philosophy about it being able to manifest. But let's change it to, instead of hard, to say it's just a little bit of resistance to it. And watch April. April's going to upgrade that to the next level. I'm going on mute. I
I'm
tried.
on another level.
I tried.
We on a new level.
I'm going.
We on a new level. Yeah, we on a new level. Okay, but but seriously, but not so seriously. We take ourselves too seriously, right? We think everything has to be done in such a way, you know, and it can be complicated because the ascension symptoms that are happening right now are all painful. I'm gonna be real, just straight up. Like they're coming in as physical pain, they're coming in as headaches, they're coming in as eye twitches. Like it's just like, is someone pulling my hair? Oh, it's spirit. Can we just like, oh, did spirit just kick me in the shin? Is that why? No, I'm just kidding. But but when we learn to laugh at ourselves, when we learn to laugh at everything in a way to help ourselves understand that it doesn't need to be taken so seriously, but it's still a serious thing. Like your safety is serious, your ability to have the space to grow into who you're becoming is also something too, right? Because sometimes we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, right? So if someone is attacking you or yelling at you or you're going through some kind of issue, it can be a little complicated when you're trying to find the good part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some techniques are centering. I wouldn't call it full on dissociation, but it's like centering with breath, right? You're detaching from the external environment. You're going internal to find your balance. If you are in physical pain, now that can be something else, right? Breathing into that space with the pain, getting interested in being curious. Not
Mm-hmm.
that you have to find the answer, but in the space of, I get to find the answer. I'm excited because the answer is going to come. I'm excited because the reason's going to come. Something is going to make sense of this. Even if it doesn't make sense right now, I have hope that it will make sense. I have trust and faith and knowing that it's going to make sense. And so when we're stepping into the positive, we're going to be sloughing off some negativity. We're going to be sloughing off possible physical pains. We're going to be sloughing off things that are going to be so just nuanced and created just for us, just to get under our skin, just to irritate us, the piss out of us. But what's beautiful about it is saying, wow, I found my threshold,
Mm-hmm.
right? wow, I found this last little bit of this, right? Oh, I did all this shadow work and then it comes back again, like I thought I was over the abandonment issues, but here I put myself in a place where I could possibly feel that hurt of being abandoned again and saying, wow, I was such a strong child, or wow, I was such a strong woman that went through that relationship, or wow, you know, I was talking to a good friend today. We were into the beach and we came back and cruised so I could like hurry up and make it to the show. We still half an hour late. I don't even. Anyway, it was one of those, you know, to be spiritual, to understand spirit is to know that there is nothing concrete about it, to know that we may not understand every aspect, but to trust that there is going to be that lesson, that learning, that strength, that something that might even inspire others to continue just a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
right? To push themselves a little bit further. Now, I've always taken it into my heart to be the mother of those around me, right? That's just kind of my little natural thing. But I'm still a wild child, so I'm not always mothering. It's not always my position. But in that sense, I conduct myself that way. Like I may have some moments where I get to be extra sexual or I get to, explore these different facets of myself, but I still bring it down to the do you feel safe around me? Right? Do you feel safe enough to share yourself, to be yourself? We may not agree, but it's okay to have that space where we are finding where we can agree to disagree, and it's okay to do that. And that's what I think is that friction with the universe, right? When it doesn't happen our way, the way we want it in the timing we want it, we're like, well, you're disagreeing with me, you're angry with me, or you're abandoning me, or you're neglecting me, or you're exploiting me. And it's like, no, it's actually me just learning how to understand the facets of myself that are willing to put myself in that uncomfortable situation. And maybe, just maybe, it's to stretch me further so that I can put myself out there, make myself be seen and be vulnerable and be open to question so that someone else can do it too. You see, it's not that we're in this alone, but we kind of are. And it's not that we're in this fully together, because sometimes we feel that aloneness, right? But if you go into the context of the spiritual playground, right? Because this is where we are, we will always find someone or something or some lesson to learn, which means there's always something to play with. There's always something to study. There's always something to be creative or artful about. And sometimes it's not cute. Sometimes it's pain. Sometimes it's someone triggering us. Sometimes it's and getting out of an abusive relationship, getting so uncomfortable that we realize we're worth more than this. So now we have to get out of this abusive, uncomfortable situation. And when we're stepping into the positive, we need to make our own plan, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I may say, I like to breathe. Well, what if somebody holds their breath, right? And that's not their method. Maybe they like to look up at the sky. Maybe they like to draw circles on a piece of paper until their mind is detached from that emotion. You have to play with it so that you can find your way to bring in and cultivate more positivity. And the simple things we've talked about before, like just being grateful, choosing to do it first thing in the morning and last thing at night will help your subconscious be more attracted to reasons to be grateful. Like we think we're asking these questions to the universe and they're not coming back and answering, but we've been talking about manifesting this whole time and how quickly things appear. So when you're quick to say, oh, I want the love of my life, right? But then you resist that in the next breath or the next thought or then of course you're going to have this friction with it, but the love is always there. From the moment of you being able to conceive of having that connection, it has always existed. And it existed before that because all of this has been orchestrated for you to have your desires. We are here to usher in heaven on earth. That is the new age. Okay. That is the Aquarian age. It's
Mhm.
utopia. However, in order to get to utopia, you got to get rid of some stuff. And if there's parts of you that are exploiting others, or if there's parts of the system that are hurting people, or, these things have to come to light. And it's okay for it to come to light. Nobody wants to talk about rape or child molestation, right? But if we don't talk about it, if we don't acknowledge it, it won't change. But everybody gets uncomfortable when you have that conversation because nobody wants those things to exist. But the only way to help get rid of them is to acknowledge they exist, to acknowledge that boundaries have been crossed, or else are boundaries being crossed, right? Usually in our own heads when we're so harsh on ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's going to be the one thing that's going to close the heart down for sure, is just getting beat down by the mind. Once the heart realizes, oh no, I'm the key to actually making the brain even function. Love is the only reason that all of this exists. It's not a fight after all, it's actually just flowing.
Mhm.
And then we start to reframe and reframe and reframe through whatever methods. So I hope that was the level up we asked for, but I, I was out of body there for a second. I'm like, good thing we recorded this. I might need to listen to it again.
I said, yes, 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 most definitely.
Well, and two, what you're talking about with the gratitude and everything, it kind of the other day the DM and I had a big conversation, and just kind of talking about ourselves and all of this kind of stuff, and but we came up with the perfectly imperfect,
Do
because
tell.
without the bad, or not the bad, without the, I guess the um
Uncomfortable?
no, like what society would say is negative. Like DM is very matter of fact. If you don't want to know exactly what he thinks, don't ask his opinion. And because he's going to tell you, and you're probably going to get your feelings hurt. So you kind of have to be like, gotta put your big girl pants on. But it's the best advice, because it's some of that but it was like I needed to hear that. And so you don't go ask unless you need to hear it, kind of thing. um but that's probably one of his most wonderful qualities to me, because I know I can always count on him. Instead of having all the fluff and stuff all my life,
Mm-hmm.
I get that. That's it. There it is. And I will give it to him. I do kind of get a little more kid glove than most people do. He we know how to talk to each other and things, but it's those kind of things. It's the perfectly imperfect. And that's what makes him perfect to me. I don't want to change him. I don't want to change any of that. And you know what, really, we have to, yes, there are habits, there's things, eating habits, lifestyle, yeah, everybody, we can improve upon ourselves, but don't go so crazy that you lose yourself. Because remember, you are just as perfectly imperfect as they are. And if they don't see that, they got a lot of healing to do. And because they have to be able to enjoy you as you. And that was one thing we realized was, one time when we were down in the Keys, that was the first time that we ever could really say we were truly ourselves, as we just sat and enjoyed the evening sky and stuff, because it was like they had known me for so long. They remembered the dorky bowl cut and the big 80s glasses, and all that stuff. So I didn't have anything to prove. I mean, I have at least upgraded from them. I don't. I have real hair now, and I don't have the dorky glasses. And um, it it was just that realization that wow, that really was when I could be myself. So that perfectly imperfect is priceless.
Mimi says at sync, whenever I pray, I always say I'm perfectly imperfect, but better than I was yesterday. And that's beautiful.
Yes.
And yeah, and a lot of times we can accept, back to like we were saying at the beginning, in some ways, kind of like coming full circle, about the self love. It's easy for us to kind of sometimes love people imperfectly, but we have a problem loving ourselves imperfectly in return.
Right.
And that's where right now I believe that with this moon and the Leo moon is really us truly getting to the place that we have heart is a conflict. When we look at that and really being able into that channel message I said earlier too, really sitting in the seat of our soul to say, hey, this is me. I'm perfectly, but I'm still divine in this thing, because you remember we're battling with two things, the human and being divine or spiritual at the same time, and really trying to find that balance. And that's where divinity comes from. Society would like to put on us that you're perfect, then you're divine, but that's not really what it's about. We came here to learn how to balance and master the humanness and the conflict that comes with that, in order for us to be able to rise above that and the sin. And then through those struggles and those battles and tribulations, that's when our divinity shows up. And
So
yes.
I heard this really cool concept, right? When you're really hard on yourself, especially, and this is a good tool to use, and it's tripping me out because it's making me think about multiple layers, right? Because they said that there's two hearts now, two hearts within one body, right? So if you are in a space where you're learning to you're relearning how to love yourself, and you talk really negatively to yourself, you like want to split that thought, right? So not only are you having that thought, but you're also having the observational thought. So pretend that it's your best friend or someone you love or care about. And if they were saying that kind of stuff to themselves, how would you talk to them through that? How would you hear them? Like if your best friend's saying all these negative things about themselves, you usually want to slow them down and say, you know what? You're being really hard on yourself right now. Like I love you for XYZ reasons, right? And that can be a really nice tool. Is just to hear yourself released from yourself. So you're not so much attached to that negative part. You're more attached to the, oh, how can I help my friend through this? How can I help my loved one through this? Because no one needs to talk to themselves that harshly. And that takes a while to unlearn because we have generations of marketing campaigns, millions and billions of dollars spent to have trained you to think the way you do right now. And so now you're unlearning that. And thankfully, we can do that in a couple generations as long as we keep ourselves accountable to ourselves, but also accountable to others. And back to that universal mother thing, back to that being conscious, universal best friend, you know, just realizing that there are several ways to get to the number nine, but the way we've been doing it with the external validation has never been one of them. And going and having compassion for ourselves is like going to be the major thing. I remember you used to say that in the beginning too, Divine Sunshine, about how to have that compassion for yourself, giving yourself grace. That's right.
Yep. I love this. Okay, let's see. I love.
Oh, that's right. You say one for every one thing you say, you have to say three positive things.
Yeah.
And then it becomes kind of like a numbers game. But then you're like, you get so tired of having to find more things to say. I love this curl of this hair on my one eyebrow. Like, come on.
Come
Like,
on now,
okay.
be genuine about that.
What
Megan
I mean,
says,
like you get tired of having to compete with yourself that you start saying less and less negative things towards yourself.
Right, right,
If you actually make yourself do the project of, you say one bad thing, you got to say three good things.
right, right. It'll become natural. I love this. I recognize today when I have been pointing out my flaws and have been practicing to say I love myself. I'm beautiful inside and out. Yes, that is true. You are. We are beautiful inside and out. All right, then we are at our 1 hour mark. We're gonna close it out right here because I see a lot of releasing of energy from one of us. So at this point, and the energy is kind of going in and out when I'm looking at the numbers too. So that lets me know as well. So, all right, then, give us our community thing. What's going on in the playground or in the neighborhood for you guys?
Buy my book.
Buy my damn book. It's real simple. 33, 33.
You know what? And for y'all, I'll make a discount. I'll make a discount code. What should we be? Should it be Sunshiners? Oh, that's a weird. That's a weird spelling. I feel like we could go either way. How about Playground 101?
Playground.
I'm
It's the playground discount.
Playmates.
Playmates
Ooh.
101. Back to Freaky Friday. Now you guys need,
Hey,
you
but think of
know.
all the search engine searches you'll get that'll throw them to your book.
Playmates. Yeah, that is true. They're like, hey, this ain't what this is about. I thought I was looking for some 50. Yeah.
And I'll make it good for the next 22 days. It should be up and running by tomorrow.
22 days. That's mastery, folks.
And I'm going to give you 11% discount. I'm doing all the magic for you. All you got to do is show up and read the book.
Show up. Get the book. 22, 22. No, I was wrong. I don't know what the math is, but anyway, this show.
That is the math. That is the math.
That is the math.
That is the math from 33 to 22. And
What's
it's a
this?
living book,
I was just.
which means it's growing and changing. I am not a critic.
I don't use my brain. Hey, somebody stepped in and said, "There it is." But all right. What's happening over here? Pineapple Fish Life. Come see.
Well, sounds like you're running out of breath on us. I don't
It's lit right now. What is happening?
Well, Pineapple Fish Life Coaching is about to go bye-bye and become Pineapple Fish Wellness.
Okay.
And just because the business encompasses more things than just life coaching. Life coaching has just kind of wound up being a part of all of it, as I do the hypno Reiki and all of that. So, still kind of doing the whole rebranding, getting some of that stuff together, less hours in the day than I have projects that I need to get. So it's definitely a work in progress. So, we're taking it one day at a time, one step at a time, and just going through it. So if you see changes on the website, that's, don't freak out. That's us. We're good.
Okay. And stuff, especially when you got a company and you're working on rebranding, you're taking things out. Say we're gonna do this way. I feel a new surge of energy coming in a certain way for me to go. I mean, I'm one. I'll do 1 minute. No, I'm not called this. Yes, I'm called this. No, that's no more. That's old. That's back there 2001. Let's go on. So I do understand about the changes about that because again, spirit is constant. It's constantly changing. So that is a big thing. So that's not something to downplay about rebranding because I know once you get ready to launch, it'll be definitely at the point in the current energies that is needed at that time for that. For me, what I'm doing is still the love letters. Those are still, I got people doing orders for that. That's kind of like to slow down. I'm like, it's the Valentine's Day. So again, if you're interested in knowing the Divine Count are the same. Please go over to divineunisols.co and order you up one as well. So right now I don't. I usually hit on the weekend. So if you go in there now to do it, then I can be able to hit you over this weekend to get you a love letter out. I usually do it Saturday or Sunday. That's when the spirit hits me to do those. Let me see. If you want past life regression sessions, those are still going on too as well. Make sure you go over to AshantiWellnessCenter.com as well to be able to do that. That's down at the bottom. Here you go. AshantiWellnessCenter.com. So you can get that one, or either pulling out the traumas too as well from your body's traumas or emotional pain or connections to people that's still housed, and you have that. That's a way through spiritual energy. I can go in and to be able to unlock that or that tying of that connections that you have with the person as well. So make sure you hit me over there too as well. All right then. So and don't forget my podcast too. That's true. I forgot about that. Spirit said don't forget the podcast. And my podcast too. I'm on iHeartRadio, Spotify. Those are my two main ones I go to. I plug them. You can go there or Podbean too as well. But those are the ones that you can hit me on for my weekly. Weekly ones that I do my podcast. All right, then get us on out of here, people. Let's go, April.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember you were made for this golden life.
All right, then, Kathy D.
Make sure that you empty all the virtual sand out of your shoes and your socks and get your own virtual sand bucket. Clean up all the virtual trash around the playground. Leave it better than you found it. Wishing you your best life ever. See you real soon.
All right, stay uplifted, stay blessed. Stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay in the dollar state. And now I'm gonna go. All right, then. Until next time, we'll see you on the playground. See ya.